The NBA playoffs have started, and day one has given us 4 amazing games to watch, and it's been a lot of fun. And you have to think which teams are the best and which teams have the best chance at raising the championship trophy at the end of the year. The bottom tier I have is the step in the right direction tier. And for this tier, I've got the Orlando Magic. They're a great young team. They've got tons of potential, but I just don't think they're there as a playoff team yet. They did well in the regular season, and I just don't think they'll be able to hold their own in the playoffs against the Cavs in the first round. They're good, don't get me wrong, but I still think they've got a few more years of developing before they become a contender. The next tier I have is injuries suck. And the first team in that tier is the Miami Heat. They were looking like a really good team coming into the playoffs, as they always do, with Jimmy Butler and playing Boston in a revenge series, which seems so fun. And then Jimmy Butler's out with an injury. He won't be able to play on this series, and I just think that's a wraps on this season. They're a great team, but you just have to go next year now. Your star player, the playoff performer that got you to a NBA Finals twice, is out, and there's not much you can do. Tyler Hero's good, Bam Adebayo's good, and they've got a bunch of good role players, but I just don't think that's enough to beat a powerhouse like Boston. And with them in that tier, I've got the New Orleans Pelicans. They looked great in the play-in tournament game against Los Angeles, and they definitely could have made some waves against the number 1 seed of the Oklahoma City Thunder. But then Zion gets injured, and I just don't think they have enough to get past them. They did well in Sacramento. They had a great team, but without Zion, that's nowhere near enough to beat Oklahoma, who were the number 1 seed this year. And that's why I just think this season's over along with Miami. They've got good pieces, but you have to just go for next year. This year's over for them. Although they definitely could steal a game, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado, Brandon Ingram, they've got a lot of great pieces. Just probably going next year, I think they've got the roster for it to make a deep playoff run if Zion is healthy. The next tier I have is the enjoy it while it lasts. And the first team I have is the Phoenix Suns. They've got a lot of great pieces. I just don't think they'll go far in the playoffs. But you have to enjoy it while it lasts. This team has no potential for the future. They've got no young pieces to build around and very little draft picks. I think all Phoenix fans should just enjoy it while it lasts. You might have Booker for a few more years, but Kevin Durant seems like he's on the way down, and Bradley Beal is still plagued with injuries. This might not be the last hurrah for them, but it seems like it's getting close, and if they don't do it this year, I don't know when. The other team in this tier is the Los Angeles Lakers. I think we're all being oblivious to the fact that LeBron James won't be a Laker for too much longer unless they decide to draft Bronny. They've got a great team and not many young pieces like the Phoenix Suns. The draft picks are stagnant, and you just don't have a good team after LeBron's left. AD might go out the door pretty soon after LeBron leaves, and I just think they should enjoy it while it lasts. They've got this series against Denver, which does seem impossible to win, but they still got great pieces and might as well give it a red-hot shot to end the year. The next tier I have is give it one more year, and the first team there is the Indiana Pacers. They've got a lot of potential. Tyrese Halliburton is a great young guard, and they've got great pieces around him like Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, Nesmith, Nembhard. They've got the pieces, but I just don't think they're there yet. It's a really competitive East, and they're going to have to play the Bucks in the first round, then possibly the Knicks or the Sixers, and even to make it to the finals, you've still got to beat the Celtics, which are one of the best teams in the league, and I just don't see them doing it this year. But in one more year, you don't know how well they could do in the playoffs, and they have so much potential that's going to help them in the long run, but I just don't think this year is their year. They're going to put up a big fight. They might beat the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round, but I just don't think this year is their year. Another team I have in this tier is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're a great team, and I still think they have a lot of potential this playoffs. They've got the Pelicans first round, which is a series they should win to prove themselves. Then you've got the Clippers or the Mavs, which are two harsh teams to play in the second round. I definitely think it's winnable, but I definitely don't think they're contenders this year. They've still got a year or two to develop their team. They've definitely got the potential, and I think they could be a powerhouse in the league to come, but I just don't think this is the year. It's so amazing how fast they progressed, and this is way over schedule, and Oklahoma City fans should be excited for the years to come. And the final team I have in this tier is the Wolves. Yes, like the Thunder, I definitely think they could make waves, but I don't think they are a contender. They've got a great team, but you still have to play the Nuggets and most likely the Boston Celtics. And those are two hard teams. They've got a great team, and definitely next year I think they'll still be an amazing team and possibly contending for a title. I just don't think it's this year. Anthony Edwards has tons of potential. So does Cat, Rudy Gobert. We finally found that the two big lineup works, and I think this team definitely has what it takes, but I just don't think this year's their year. Then you've got, if your star's healthy, you're dangerous. And the two teams I have here is the Bucks and the Clippers. For the Bucks, Giannis will be injured to start this series, and when he comes back, it's going to be a very vital part of this series. If he's back by game 2, I'm favouring the Bucks. If it's any later, I've got the Pacers winning the series, and that's why it's vital he comes back from this injury. But the question is, are they going to push him too soon? Which could mean very bad things. If they push him too early, he gets a worse injury that lasts longer, and the Bucks medical staff have to time this and make sure he's healthy to come back into the playoffs, and hopefully as soon as possible. And then you've got the Clippers. They've got a big three of Harden, Paul George and Kawhi. But Kawhi is consistently injured, and he might be out to start the season against Dallas, which is a big, big blow. Because when you're beating a team like Dallas in a 7-game series, you need all your pieces together, especially someone like Kawhi Leonard. When it comes down to big shots, you're going to need your star and someone to guard Luka, who's going to be wrecking them on offense. If they don't have Kawhi for maybe the first 2 games, that could be their season. So they have to rely on Kawhi being healthy, which we've seen has been very inconsistent. Next, we have teams that could surprise us. The first team I have is the Dallas Mavericks. Any team with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving is always going to be full of surprises. Luka's the best offensive scorer we have in the league right now, along with Kyrie as a second option on offense. They're always going to be trouble on the offensive side of the ball. On defense, you've got Daniel Gafford, who's a great shot blocker, the rookie Derek Lively, and a lot of good wing defenders as role players. This team has potential, but if they don't play well against the big teams like the Nuggets, they're not going to get past. I definitely think they could beat them, but I don't think I'm going to favour them in a 7-game series. Another team that could 100% surprise us is the Philadelphia 76ers. Once again, they've got an amazing star in Joel Embiid, and anything can happen when someone averages 35 and 10 in 35 games. If he was healthy, he's the MVP. And in a playoff series, when you need it most, he's going to be scoring buckets for your team. And they've got great role players around him, like Tobias Harris. Tyrese Maxey is great, and we just saw Batum in the play-in tournament go crazy to save them from the 8th seed. And I think this team has a lot of potential, but they're going to have to overcome big teams, especially because they were dropped to a 7th seed after Joel Embiid's injury. It's going to be a big struggle. I think they've got the talent, but they're going to have to prove themselves first against the Knicks. Another team that could surprise us is the New York Knicks. We saw their game against the Philadelphia 76ers. This team is promising. You've got Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Hardenstein. You've got a lot of great role players along with DiVincenzo. You've got the team, and you've got Jalen Brunson. If Julius Randle is back healthy, I think this team could 100% make waves in the playoffs. They're a great defense and a great offense. If they beat the Bucks, that could be a big series, if they make it to that series and if they are playing the Bucks, it could prove that the Bucks aren't the top team out east anymore, along with the Celtics, that the Knicks are one of the best teams and they need to prove themselves when it comes to the big series. Then you've got the finals favourites, and those two teams are the Denver Nuggets and the Boston Celtics, two of the best teams in the league. On the side of the Denver Nuggets, you've got one of the best offenses in the league, proven to work in the playoffs. You've got Jokic, who's one of the best producers in the league, Jamal Murray, who's amazing in the playoffs, and a great supporting cast with MPJ, Aaron Gordon, and you've got the pieces, and we've seen it work before. And on the other side, you've got the Boston Celtics, who've got probably the most talented roster in the league, but they haven't proven themselves yet. We've seen Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the playoffs, and it hasn't worked. Will it work with the added pieces like Chris Stapps and Drew Holiday? I'm looking forward to finding this out, because it's going to be a hell of a series if these two play each other, which I think is the most likely. They're two of the best teams in the league, and they deserve to be favourites because they've gone so well. Boston winning 64 games in the regular season, which is record-breaking and amazing, and they're consistent in the regular season. So the biggest problem for them is consistency, and the biggest problem for Denver is probably injuries or maintaining their finals level offense and using their experience from last year to help them win this year. And that's all I have for you today. So thank you for watching the video. Tell me your favourite to win it in the comments down below, and have a nice day.